Hello, my name is Philip, and I'm doing this little YouTube project to quench my boredom during quarantine, that lovely thing that we're all going through right now. So yeah, I'm doing this about some of my projects that I've made, some DIY stuff, and mostly car and motorsport related. There'll be some other stuff mixed in there too, so enjoy. So the first thing that I'm really going to be touching on, really the majority of this channel will probably be focused on this thing. This is a little go-kart that I've been working on for a little while. It's been through a whole bunch of iterations. I won't go into the full story of it right now, just because it's long and boring. But basic rundown of it, it is a little shifter kart powered by some sort of Chinese 200cc engine with a 4-speed manual with reverse on it. So basic setup, I mean, it's rear engine, rear wheel drive with a 1-inch live axle, carbureted obviously. Basic driver setup, we got all 3 pedals up there, so clutch, brake, and gas. We have a very simple, just pin style steering system. It is a raised steering system, so that took a little bit of ingenuity to kind of get to work, including creation of a little traction bar up here. We've got a tack, and then key and push start. We've got some destroyed tires up front. This one was even worse, and I replaced it. I have another tire to put on this side, I just haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah, basic setup, I mean, live axle, rear wheel drive, rear engine. It's a CDI engine. There's our clutch right here. I mean, basic setup, really jank, nasty looking gas tank, but we'll fix that, we'll get rid of that. But the primary reason for this video right here and what I'm going to be working on today is this right here. So this is currently my exhaust setup, which is just some really crappily bent piping, which runs over here to a flange, and then that's actually a muffler that I made, a little glass pack muffler. But I want to redo all this because it is ridiculously loud, and the issue is not necessarily the muffler, the issue is up here at the header. So something interesting about this engine is I have no idea who makes it, what it is. I don't even know if it's actually a 200cc. It might be a 250. The website I bought it from said both 250 and 200, so who knows. I'm slowly figuring stuff out about this engine. There's really no information on it. There's no company. There's this little price thingy, or not price, but product barcode, but I've typed all of the information that's on this engine into Google and come up with nothing. So I can't find an actual legitimate exhaust for this. So in terms of a header and a manifold, I have to make them. So this is my first attempt with some really dog shit welds on there, but we'll ignore those. But the issue I'm running into, if I pull this guy out, which it doesn't really fit very well in, but we'll get this guy out for a good old college try. Give her a good wiggle a few times. There we go. Alright. So this is where my leak is occurring, and you can probably kind of see this by the soot buildup that's around these cooling fins here. There's this weird, almost like cookie cut out of the bottom of the hole in the head. And all the exhaust is just leaking out there, which means very little of my exhaust is actually flowing through the exhaust. Really none of it. It's all leaking out here, which is why it's so loud. So what I'm going to try and do is, I mean, you can kind of see the issue here. There's a very specific contour shape to the inside of this head that I'm going to have to try and match. Unfortunately, just shoving this 1.5-inch black iron pipe with a piece of what was that, 1/4-inch steel welded on it doesn't do the trick of sealing it up. So I'm gonna have to try and make something that matches that contour, fits in there nice and snug, bolts up, and I can actually probably put a little bit of like aluminum foil or something like that as a gasket to seal it. So my idea behind that is, you know, this is an aluminum head. Why not use aluminum for just a short extension of this part of the head to reduce it down to, let's say, a 1-inch pipe for a header, and then into the rest of the exhaust. So I'm going to try and sand cast it using green sand and a 3D printed model, which I already have running, and we're going to try and get this to fit perfectly. Alrighty, we're here. We're about to start melting down the aluminum for the new exhaust manifold. I got the print inside of the green sand all packed in. I'm going to flip this over and hopefully it'll come out in one piece. It's a big if, but we've got an aluminum strap right here. This is about maybe half a pound of aluminum. The part's only going to need about 115 grams or so. So we're going to have plenty of excess. We're just going to pour it back into that cookie mold that's right there. Make some more ingots. Here's my furnace. It's seen better days along with my crucible. Also seen better days, pretty nasty in there. Crucible is just a piece of black iron pipe that's welded to a base. I'm going to pack it with some lump charcoal, which I got over there. Fill her up with some starter fluid and then get my air source hooked up. Alright, I got my torch going. Let's light this bitch up. There we go. Nice and hot. She's going. And let's throw the lid on top of there. Add some air. Ready. So we'll let that go and let that heat up a little bit. Nice and toasty down there. While that's heating up, we got our cast in here, which is a 3D printed part. You have to screw these little screws into there to release it, and hope it comes out in one piece and doesn't fall apart, because that would kind of suck. Alright, we got the furnace cranking up to high power. See the aluminum start to melt. I'll have to get some more in there in a second. I got the mold out, sort of. I'm gonna run with this. I mean, there's still, like, these holes are missing here. That chunk is missing, these are missing, these are missing. But, I mean, that's all stuff that I can add. If you look carefully at the hole here, there's little divots where those are. So it'll be easy to find with the drill press, and I can machine all those bits out. So I'm not too worried about it. The key thing is just this shape right here, because that's perfectly gonna fit into the head on the engine. And we have our aluminum poured into here. It's still pretty hot. As you can see, I had a little bit of a spill here and there, which kind of sucks, but nothing bad happened. So this area over here where it kind of collapsed is kind of a low spot, a little divot in there. So this is going to take quite a bit of cleanup work. I'm going to inspect it once I pull it out, once it's cool enough, and I'll dunk it in some water, and I'll inspect it to see exactly what it looks like. And I mean, it's possible that I'm just gonna have to cut this up and remelt it and try again. But that's the nice thing about green sand is I retained the original form, so I can just do it again. Alrighty, so I'm getting ready to pull this out of the mold here. It's been sitting for a little while. I'll start breaking it up around the edges. Moment of truth. Okay, so we had a little bit of mess up there, but overall, I'm fairly happy with that. It's cooled off now. It's cool enough to touch. Still got some sand packed down in here pretty tight. Yeah, this is actually not terrible. This is my first cast ever, so I'm actually not terribly upset about this result. I mean, it's a little messy, but I might try it again, but I will hold on to this as a testament to it. I did a little bit more cleanup work last night on this header here, and I think it's going to go in there pretty well. It's still a tight fit, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It'll just mean better seal. And this is something that I'm honestly going to probably leave into the motor, and then if I ever need to remove the header, it will just be by unbolting it from here. So I'm going to go ahead and move this up and out of the way. I'm going to start cutting some pie cuts and get my 1-inch steel pipe ready to fabricate this header. Alright, so we got a good variety of different little pie cuts in here that I should be able to piece together to make some pretty nice little curves. Some of them ended up being cut a little bit too narrow, but that's fine. I mean, nothing a little bit of welding can't fix. Maybe this one might be a little too much, but we'll see. I mean, I'll go ahead and start piecing it together. Here's the whole header kind of assembled. We've got this section that's going to stick down into the head, and then I'm going to have a little flange on here, and these welds are pretty nasty looking, but it's sealed up, so I'm not too concerned about it if it looks pretty or not. Unfortunately, the welder I have, which is, you know, the Harbor Freight Special Flux Core arc welder, it does not like low rates. It has like a low and high setting. On low rates, it has a very hard time maintaining an arc, which is where you get these like splotchy bits. And unfortunately on high, I was just in a lot of places melting a hole straight through this pipe. It's not thick enough diameter for the high rates, I guess. It should be fine in theory, but I guess it didn't like it, so I just have to live with the fact that these look like shit, but, you know, it's whatever. Down here, it's not too bad. Still have a little bit of nastiness, but, I mean, some of them came out all right. It's kind of a pain in the butt to snake this guy into the position. I'm running into another issue where my original idea for a flange, so basically this is going to sit down, I mean, it drops down through there, obviously, it sits in there like this, and there's going to be a flange that then bolts into these two holes right here. So originally I was going to take a piece of metal and about this size, and I already cut it out and stuff, and I started drilling the hole for the center. But unfortunately, my bits that can drill up to 1 inch are not agreeing with the steel very much, and that's also my fault for using shitty tools. I mean, I have like a $40 Harbor Freight drill press, and that's just not doing the job. I'm having too much axial walk, and it's causing me a lot of problems. So what I'm going to do instead is I have sitting somewhere right here this section of L bracket. So what I'm going to do is basically just cut some brackets here and drill a hole at the right radius out for these, and then just weld them on the side like that basically, and cut off the end and clean up a little bit, because really all I need this to do is hold it in place. The seal is going to be created by this being pressed tight up inside of there with some gasket material around the outside edge. So really that's all that needs to happen, and these brackets, while they won't be pretty, won't look good like a flange will, they'll work. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those out right now. Alrighty, so I got the tabs welded onto the header, and then while it was pulled out a little bit, I smeared in a bunch of JB Weld like exhaust sealant. So I'm just waiting for that to dry, and that will give us a nice seal in there. And yeah, so the exhaust is ran. It comes right down into here and out the back to right here as the current exit. And then we have this flange, so then we can mount another bit of exhaust system. I still want to use this stock muffler, or not stock, but this muffler that I made. I kind of want to orient it in this direction, something like that. So I'm just going to have to run like an S from there around to there. Probably just weld it straight off the end of this, and then cut this flange off because it matches this one, and have that based on there. So basically we're going to have a nice big U like that for the exhaust to flow through up into here and out. And I'm hoping those extra bends and just extra length of exhaust pipe will kind of help to make the tone a little less one-cylindery, and kind of open it up a little bit, make it sound a little bit better. Alrighty, we're just about ready to start her up for the first time. We've got battery laid out. I got the key ready to go. She's just about ready to turn over. This has been sitting for about an hour. Let it dry a little bit, and it says on the directions to let the engine run for a little while. It's kind of harden it, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. So we just got our first run in. Couldn't really get the thing to run. I had to run it on the choke closed the entire time. This motor does not like to start properly. This carb is very touchy. I think we were running a little too lean based on the fact that it only ran with the choke closed. But unfortunately, the directions that were on the thing for this gasket material, or this JB weld, said to let it sit for 30 minutes and then run the engine for 10. I let it sit for an hour and 30 minutes or so, and I ran the engine and it blew it all out because it was still liquid. So I'm gonna have to reseal that, which kind of sucks, but it's whatever. But daylight's fading quick, so I'm gonna go ahead and stow this thing up and we'll hit it again tomorrow. Alrighty, well, that concludes my first video for this YouTube channel. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Definitely going to be making more of these videos because I have nothing better to do. So have a great rest of your day. Bye.